A good evening, our dear viewers. As we know that digital landscape is rapidly evolving in this world, the topic of discussion today is about local businesses involving themselves with the digital transformation to help them enhance productivity and competitiveness when it comes to business operations. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased. Today I'm with Mr. Joel Muhumuza, the CEO of Flyhub, who will help elaborate more. So, Mr. Muhumuza, if you were to give it like a percentage, on what percentage do you think our local businesses in Uganda are at when it comes to digital transformation?
Well, thank you for having me. I think I'll answer it in two ways. In terms of percentage of total businesses that are digital, probably less than 5%. It's a very low number, but that stands to reason because enablers for digital are also quite difficult. Access to internet, access to electricity, even priorities in how you're going to reach customers. Most people are using cash. Most people are used to coming to your business as a physical place. So I would say less than 5% are digital. But I would say about 80% of businesses interact with digital tools. They use mobile money occasionally to pay for their utility bills or to receive payments. Many will even use WhatsApp to advertise their businesses. They may use Facebook. I know it's not officially on, but some people use Facebook. So I think there's some initial adoption of digital tools. It's just very low. And I think that that's part of why we're interested in seeing how businesses can start to use productive tools. Right now, they use social tools or some, mobile money here and there, but they're not taking the full benefit of using digital tools. Yeah.
How best would you think you would advise that the people in local businesses to embrace digital transformation in their skills?
Yeah, so maybe I'll say three things there. One is a bit self serving, it's what we're doing as Standard Bank. So the group created the incubator. So the business incubator is one way in which, for free, we take different businesses through the journey of getting their books ready, understanding how to use digital tools, understanding how it helps them even get financing. So I think to begin with, looking out for these kinds of endeavors, there are a lot of free courses that are out there. The issue is, I think, how to find them. And so we're trying to publicize in things like this to say they're available with us, but with a few other partners. I think the second way is this country has a lot of young people, and a lot of them are very savvy at navigating the internet. So I would say ask your son, ask someone who's in the neighborhood about how can I use Excel? How can I use Google Drive, for instance? There are free tools that can be used to enhance what you're already doing. And once you get a taste of it, then you can appreciate things at a higher level. Now, I would say the third means is, by engaging organizations such as ourselves. So Flyhub, for instance, we were created as a technology software developer. So we build products for companies, including internal to the group. And one of the things that we found is the initial step is just helping someone understand how their business actually runs and what changes they need to do. The biggest thing I'll say about digital is it's mostly a change of mindset. So once you are open to using new tools, it's very easy. That's the biggest part, I think about 90%. The tools come along afterwards. But I think we intimidate people. I think it's a problem even on our side. We intimidate people by making them look super high-tech and very far away and not relatable. I think by breaking down that barrier and saying, if I can use WhatsApp, I can use any digital tool. Yeah.
Wow, from what you've said mostly about the mindset of people, how would you like maybe mention a few of the benefits of businesses using digital to in their operations? What could be some of those importances? Okay, the benefits when it comes to having digital in one's business.
All right, I think let me start with what most people realize. Let's say I have a business selling honey and I'm located somewhere in Mbuya. That means only the people who can reach Mbuya physically will be able to purchase my goods. Going digital has different facets. There will be the back end, so that's your internal operations, and then the front end. So a lot of times people will do the front end, so they'll get an email address, they may get a website, and what they find is they get overwhelming response. So when you go online, it means people in Kenya, people in other parts of Uganda will see what you're offering and then make a request for you to provide the service. But if on the back end I'm not able to do logistics, I'm not able to plan, not able to respond, all I'll see is so many people who want my service and I'm not able to meet them. So I would say the first bit is to look internally and say, what is the thing that's going to add money to my business? One is, for instance, the group has something called FlexiPay. So FlexiPay was created for someone as a business owner to be able to get payments either from a bank, if someone's paying with their card, if someone's paying with mobile money, if someone's paying with cash, if someone is sending from Western Union, all of that can come straight into your coffers. Now, once we see that record, as the bank, we now know you. The bank only knows a business by its business books, by your transaction records. And unfortunately, so many businesses, the information is held up here or is held in a book somewhere. And the time it takes to get that information from the book to a person who wants to provide you credit or insurance, it's cumbersome. So if you use these tools and you're using them in an everyday basis, it makes the cost of financing to you easier. It makes our ability to even help you and customize tools for you so much better. So it helps us on the supply side understand that, well, people in construction no longer need the kinds of loans we're giving them. Maybe they need other loans to be able to get inventory. The other bit I would say is don't walk the journey alone. A lot of the African bonus is that we work within associations. We do circles, we do group savings. In that group, it's very easy for you to then say, coming to the bank and say, come and teach us about how we can use the digital financial tools you have. We're struggling, we're trying to set up our business together. Each of us is struggling. Let's come together and put our needs and say, come and talk to our 300 or 500. I'll tell you for free, any provider of services is attracted to numbers. So if you pull together as numbers and demand for us to tell you something, we will. One last thing there I think I'll say in terms of the mindset. I wouldn't say the mindset it's not a malicious one. It's not one of laziness. You're just used to doing things a certain way. And that change is what is very uncomfortable. And part of why this initiative towards doing masterclasses, towards building a digital toolbox, is we're saying even people like myself, people who come in suits every day, we think we know, but we also just move by force of inertia, by force of nature. So we're looking at not just the local businesses in terms of the vast majority of entrepreneurs, we're also looking at the corporate businesses that are supposed to support them. We're also looking at government who's supposed to be providing an enabling environment because we can't move with just the businesses. Businesses interact with government, businesses interact with larger providers who will put out will ask them to vend for them services or will procure services from them. So we're trying to hit it from all those avenues. So I don't want people to think it's just the small local businesses. It's generally as a country, there's a lag towards taking on digital technologies, but that lag can be easily overcome by, having the bravery to say, I don't know, just help me. Yeah.
As we were starting this whole discussion, you talked about our business is having like 5% in the digital technologies. What would you think are some of the challenges or hurdles that lead to this?
Yeah, so I think in part it's also not knowing the right tools that you need. Too often you can buy a large technology solution and you're using a hammer to hit a mouse. You don't need something that large. Earlier in the press conference, our partner Michael from Refactory gave the example of government rightfully saying that different districts needed to have websites. Why? If we're looking to promote Uganda, to build Uganda, the outside world needs to see what we're doing. But the challenge was it's easy to set up the website, but to keep it running, to provide the content, to know how to respond, that's where the gap was. I think a challenge is also there are very few skilled developers, very few skilled people who work in tech. So a lot of what we're using is received from the outside world. It's received from either the US or it's received from Europe or it's received from Asia. So those technologies have been built to meet problems that they have. Some are universal, but for instance here, how easy is it for someone who's never learned how to read or write in English to be able to engage with the digital service? Perhaps the way I should be able to speak in my local dialect and for the information to be received is something that needs to be done. So there's a challenge on our side to be able to adapt to where people are instead of hoping everyone comes to a place where the average American citizen is, where they can start to engage with tools. The other things around, the enabling infrastructure. 5G internet is not widely spread. So to depend on your business being completely online or having to connect, it can be a risk. So a lot of businesses are hybrid. You have your digital side, but you also have your books that you're keeping. I know for myself, for instance, I can never move without cash. I will use my phone to make payments, I'll use the card, but if it's not working, I need to have a backup. I think the last one might just be around the people who make business decisions. This country is very young, but both in the business community and in the government, decisions are made by people who are much older than people who are actually facing the everyday grind. And as long as that gap remains, it's almost seen as, oh, it's just a nice to have instead of an investment in the future. So I think part of it is on us, using our brand and being able to, speak to industry associations to say, yeah, we're talking about digital skilling for people in school, for people who are looking for jobs, but us ourselves, are we making the right investments? Are we creating the right jobs? Are we setting aside the right kinds of projects? Because it's easy for us to talk and say someone else has to learn. What we're saying is we also need to learn and take ourselves on the journey as well. Yeah.
While talking about these hurdles, you talked about how some of them can be addressed. Kindly elaborate more on how we can work on these challenges.
So I think for us, practically, one of the things that we've thought about is actually starting by having these master classes. So they'll be coming out. They'll be looking at different sectors, people in oil and gas. Oil and gas because it's really front and center in the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. We're looking at the education sector. We're looking at textile trade. We're looking at people who are dealing in financial services as well, people in ceramics, people in real estate. When we put out our toolkit at the end of the day, it's meant to be something that's Ugandan made, that you as a business can download, go through, ask yourself questions and get a diagnosis, just like when you've gone to the doctor. So after you've gotten the diagnosis, we'll recommend a few tools that you should start with. Some of them are free, so you can begin to engage. There are also resources where you can ask questions from larger enterprises like Google or Microsoft. But then for your specific use case, that's why we exist as Flyhub and Refactory as our partner. More practically, up until we save the world with this toolkit, I think the ways that people can start to solve these issues are starting with your phone. Your phone does quite a bit. I tell my mother she uses it for phone calls and WhatsApp. She doesn't know she can take notes with it. She doesn't know that she can record things. It's a powerful device, but we don't seem to engage as much with it. So I think the greatest way is just to find the most technically advanced person and just say, show me how this thing works, someone you trust. I think the community approach really makes sense. But you have to ask the question in terms of how does this apply to my business? And then try just a little bit. I have a young nephew who he learns by doing. And I think as adults, we like to learn by looking. So I think if we change it to let's start learning by doing, just with the few things we have, signing up for WhatsApp Business, just going through WhatsApp Business, it will show you how you should list your products, how you shall get communication back. Signing up for the Google business, I forget what it's called. There's it's something under Google Business that lists your business so it can be searched for when people are Googling. Now, there's a lot of information there that you can go through. So I think those are a few places you can start. But I also would like to repeat that, we have the Stanbic Incubator. Every year they open up different free sessions where we train different businesses, particularly small and medium enterprises, on how they can use the right digital tools for them to succeed. Yeah.
Yeah, recently we signed an MOU with China whereby they will be investing 560 billion Ugandan shillings in the improvement of internet in Uganda. Would you say that our government is working so hard to make sure that the business community is involved when it comes to digital transformation?
Yes, they are, but I think being part of an association myself, we're saying more can be done. Why? A lot of the things government wants to do, we think us as the business sector should be driving it. So for instance, if they say they're going to set up internet service points along a certain business corridor, we would want to say, is that the corridor that makes the most money? When the money is retrieved from there, where is it going to go? What kind of preparation should we have to do? One of the challenges we've seen, for instance, is how fiber optic cables, different companies lay them on the same path. Then they may interfere with national water, or they may interfere with something else. So I think the thing I would say is there's need for more coordination. And I think we as the citizenry should understand that this is public service to us. So one of the ways we have started it is by through the Bankers Association, through the Fintech Association, to use that aggregated body to talk to our regulators like NITA, to talk to Bank of Uganda, to talk to UCC, to say, hey, we need you to do these specific actions. So I would say if you are in a specific industry, look to form an association, because when it's just you as an individual, it's not going to have much impact. But I think the investment, the money is there, the will is there. I think we just need to add our voices to direct it to the right things.
That is all we had for you today in the discussion. If you're out there watching us, make sure you involve your business when it comes to digital transformation. Thank you.